everybody purchases drugs online. I mean, that seems to be a scary thought that you can get illegal drugs over the internet.
I think a lot has evolved over the last few years, and we're such a connected information age society that people can get anything they want from a cell phone, from an iPad, from a laptop. They can order things, and it's pretty easily available, and it doesn't take a lot of creativity to search and find things, I believe, that can be potentially dangerous. And what we need people to really step back and be aware. You know, this is a community concern. We've actually had an incident that is troubling here in our town, but it's happening all around the country. It's not an Apex exclusive issue. It's an issue that goes on around the country where other people are seeing the same types of things. It's just so very dangerous. People represent a substance to be a certain thing. You buy it from an unknown person, you have it shipped to your home, or in some cases to a post office box, which is kind of another issue that people should be aware that that's a red flag signal. But it's sent somewhere from someone that you only know online, and you have no idea what it's going to be. You think it's going to be a certain thing. There's no quality control. These are not pharmaceuticals. We realize there are problems with people abusing pharmaceuticals, but they're at least manufactured in controlled environments. Things that are designer type drugs or synthetics that are manufactured, are made in people's garages and their bathrooms and their kitchens or whatever. There's no quality control. The potential for toxic materials to be in there is extremely high. And then there's no care in the chemistry that's there for that. So when people take something like this, the risk is so incredibly high. Because what is at risk? What is at risk every time these type of drugs get used is a life-altering, life-changing result all the way to the end of the spectrum, which is a life-ending result. And that's really high stakes. And that's what we have to have parents be more aware of. We need young people to be aware that the risk of some things is just way too high.
I mean, the bottom line is you would advocate nobody buy drugs. But if you're buying drugs, like you said, online, I mean, you don't even know what you're getting. You have no idea if this is rat poison. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Battery fluid.
Being a guy who worked drugs back 25, 30 years ago in the 80s, I was in that part of the career field at that time. This is different, than there were risks associated with buying something from the guy you knew around the corner, because there may have been something in it that was less. It may have been cut with this or that, but there was some connectivity. When you will go online and click a button, send a money order, and something's mailed to you from somewhere, some innocuous post office box somewhere else we don't know where it's coming from, and then you get it there and you think, oh, let's do this. It's really risky.
Do you think it's happening more than we realize?
Well, I think the nature of society today makes it so easy for it to happen that I'm not naive to believe that it doesn't happen a lot. And many times, it happens without a horrible consequence, which is why you don't hear about it, I think, a lot of those occasions. But this is kind of a Russian roulette sort of scenario where the risk can be really high.
And should people understand that if you sell drugs to somebody and they die, you could face serious charges?
It absolutely can get to that point where you have contributed to the death of another person. That we just need people to step back and think about what's at risk. And and we need family members and friends to help others make better decisions. When I look at the situations where sometimes you see these situations happening, and you have kids that have unexplained assets, income, they've got money, they're doing this. Parents should be paying attention to those things. If you have a child that needs their own private post office box, that should be a red flag signal. That something is being sent to them that they don't want you to know about. That should make you aware that there's something out of whack. Sorry for the train. We are the police. We're charged with investigating criminal activity, and we're charged with investigating things that, like drug trafficking and sale and possession. We do that. But I have to tell you, as not just a police chief, but a parent, what we need to be doing is trying to make the community safe. That should be our role. We should be helping. And this is one of those areas that these bad outcomes are easily prevented by people making the right decisions.
You mentioned several times the post office box. Was that an old factor in this particular case?
We know from what we have learned as we continue the investigation that oftentimes people who buy and use these type of mail order drugs that get ordered online are shipped to P.O. boxes. That's just the norm across the country. So that should be something people should be aware of.
And is that how the suspect in this case got those drugs through mail order?
I don't want to go into that, but I will tell you that we know they weren't local, that they arrived here somewhere else. But I don't want to get into the specifics on what we're looking at now.
And Chief, you mentioned how when someone takes a substance, there's an unknown factor about what they're actually putting into their body. In this particular incident, is there a question as to whether this was actually LSD?
Yeah. Don't want to talk to that point. There's still toxicology reports